raising fear of a trade war even among some of his fellow Republicans. CNN's Tom Foreman is here with those details, and this was one of his core campaign promises. It's why people are paying a lot of attention to it.
Yeah, and it fits in with a basic theme that Donald Trump pushed time and again on the campaign trail. He said under his administration, things will be different, and now it looks like he's out to prove it. Tonight, President-elect Donald Trump is signaling he's ready to turn some of his tough talk from the campaign into action.
China is responsible trade deficit. They break the rules in every way imaginable.
Sources tell CNN Action to place at least a 5% tariff on goods imported to the United States. One source says a rate of 10% is on the table.
Let me tell you what does it. Good old-fashioned tax.
Critics warn such a proposal could set off a trade war. But Peter Navarro, who Trump has named to lead the new White House Trade Council, made clear the president-elect will not back down when it comes to what he sees as unfair trade practices.
The tariff that Trump proposes is not an end game, and the purpose is not to just put tariffs on. It's to use it as a negotiating tool to stop China's cheating.
But the plan could face headwinds in Congress, including from Republicans. House Speaker Paul Ryan has said Trump's goals would be better achieved through reforming the tax code.
It's consistent with our goal to make American businesses and American products more competitive in the global economy. And we believe the best way to achieve that goal is through comprehensive tax reform.
As Trump seeks to draw a hard line on trade, he's also taking a tough stance with his own allies, who say he no longer cares for his Drain the Swamp campaign theme.
We are going to drain the swamp.
I'm told he now disclaims that. He now says it was cute, but he doesn't want to use it anymore.
Trump tweeting, someone incorrectly stated that the phrase drain the swamp was no longer being used by me. Actually, we will always be trying to drain the swamp, prompting Newt Gingrich to walk back his earlier comments.
So I want all of you to know, I goofed. Draining the swamp is in.
This as Trump's family takes a step to avoid potential conflicts of interest. Eric Trump telling the New York Times he will no longer solicit donations for his personal charity to avoid pay-for-play allegations, saying, as unfortunate as it is, I understand the quagmire. Newly appointed counselor to Trump, Kellyanne Conway, told CNN this decision is going to have negative consequences.
The idea that these folks are trying to help people in need, and those people are going to suffer now.
A defense reminiscent of the one made by Bill Clinton when the Clinton Foundation came under attack during the campaign.
We're trying to do good things. If there's something wrong with creating jobs and saving lives, I don't know what it is.
Ivanka Trump also in the spotlight unexpectedly tonight after a man was removed from a JetBlue flight for reportedly making disparaging comments toward her and her husband Jared Kushner as they were getting ready to take off for a vacation in Hawaii. JetBlue issued a statement saying, look, we don't take people off planes willy-nilly. They only do it when they feel like something may escalate even into flight. That's what they felt in this case. They put that passenger on the next flight. As for the Trump campaign, they simply said, look, it's unfortunate. The circumstances speak for themselves. Brianna?
Tom Foreman, thank you so much for that. Let's get more now with our experts. We have Rebecca Berg and Jim Acosta and Phil Mudd with us. So you have, Rebecca, Trump's transition team considering this tariff on foreign, this tariff on foreign imports. And clearly Donald Trump wants to deliver on his America's First campaign theme, but in a way, isn't he splitting the baby? Because one of the effects of this could be a lot of people who go to places like Walmart, buy things for their kids to go back to school, and the prices could go up.
Exactly. And so that's why, Brianna, you're hearing Republican leaders already trying to send warning signals to Donald Trump that this is not something they will necessarily support. And in fact, they would probably oppose it because this is not a traditional Republican position at all. And so Republican leaders like Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan are trying to take a proactive stance in favor of tax reform, trying to emphasize to Donald Trump and his team now that they think that will solve most of the problems that Donald Trump is trying to tackle with this tariff. Republicans really going to be wary of this, and if Donald Trump does take executive action on it, as his team is suggesting he might in some of these reports, that would be as well very controversial, because Republicans, as we all know, have been a little bit wary of President Obama taking executive action.
They don't want to be sidestepped on this. I mean, he has a Republican Congress. So there's that issue at home. What about when it comes to foreign policy, Jim? What would the complications potentially be there?
Well, the critics have already been saying, this could spark a trade war. This could spark a global recession. There's going to be some hyperventilating over this. President Obama did tariffs back in 2009. He slapped tariffs on Chinese tires, and there are some analyses that were done on this that show that, yes, they did save some jobs, but the price of tires went up. And so, as you were saying, Rebecca, about the cost of goods that we like, how about iPhones that are
These are
made
things
in China?
we notice, tires and iPhones, right?
iPhones get expensive. People aren't going to like that. And,
and Ivanka Trump's own clothing is manufactured in Asia, we might note.
There are a number of Trump products that have been made overseas. And so this could be an issue. Now, we understand that what they're talking about in the House is more of a border adjustment tax. You raise tariffs on goods coming in, you lower taxes on goods coming out, and they think that that could be a wash in the long run. But Donald Trump acting unilaterally, that sounds like something that Republicans used to criticize President Obama for.
It would be remarkable. All right, Phil Mudd, check out this Donald Trump tweet. He says, the United States must greatly strengthen and expand its nuclear capability until such time as the world comes to its senses regarding nukes. Your reaction to that?
Well, if you think on the substantive side anybody has any idea what that means, let me disabuse you of that notion. Let's go to the style side for a moment. We're just talking about China. We have a deal maker in chief moving into the Oval Office, telling the Chinese with a phone call from the Taiwanese president, with his comments about the drone the Chinese captured and returned recently, with his comments on tariffs, telling the Chinese, I got cards to play. He's seen as a softie on Russia. What's he telling Putin today? I'm looking at the timing in the style. I look at this as a deal maker saying, you want to play some cards on nuclear? I can play cards too. I think this has to do maybe with a message to somebody he's supposed to be affiliated with, that is Vladimir Putin. I'm not a pushover. Be careful where you go on this one.
Substantively, this is the thing, as Phil says, you don't really know where it is. And proving that point, Donald Trump's team put out a clarification. They said that he was, quote, referring to the threat of nuclear proliferation and the critical need to prevent it. They also did this yesterday with the clarification. And also, when you match up that explanation to what Donald Trump said, they really seem completely contradictory.
They do, and they had to come out and explain what he said yesterday when he was asked about the Muslim ban, and they ended up saying, well, he was just talking about the threat posed by radical Islamic terrorists. Donald Trump's team is going to have to do this again and again and again, but, if you listen to Kellyanne Conway and Sean Spicer and these folks who just got these big important jobs inside the Trump White House today, they will say, listen, Donald Trump, for all the hue and cry in the media and so forth over these tweets, and when he talks about radical Islamic terrorists before the intelligence comes out, they say, you know what, he's right a lot of the time. And so, on this Russia issue, they are going to have to be careful about that, but at the same time, I think he has a lot of political capital in the bank, Donald Trump does, with the Kremlin.
Playing cards, as Phil said. We'll see. All right, Phil Mudd, Jim Acosta, Rebecca Berg, stand by for me. We have much more ahead. We'll be back after a quick break.
Where will the lead take us today? Straight to the source.
Would Israel be willing to go along with those demands?
To a side you haven't seen.
That sounds a young man's game.
All the way to the heart of a problem.
What is going on in Ferguson, Missouri, in downtown America?
Maybe all the way to the president.
Do you think you were naive back then?
The Lead with Jake Tapper. Weekdays at 4.
Hello, I'm CNN's Richard Quest. I watch CNN Go wherever I may find myself. It's really very simple. First, grab your phone or tablet. Oh, thank you. Press TV, select CNN International, and log in with your TV provider. CNN International on CNN Go. The best way to watch CNN anytime, anywhere. What a view.